don't you come on in, let me give you a little Christmas tour of the cottage. All right, first up, come on into the family room. We are officially all nice and festive here in the house, and I'm going to show you the two main spaces that I decorated for Christmas here in the cottage. I'm feeling all the festive vibes. I've got my vintage Christmas sweater on, and I am just ready to show you guys our Christmas decor. As a little background, I feel like my holiday seasonal decorating is always kind of a work in progress. I've shared about this before, but when we first got married, I went to Home Goods and Michael's and wherever else, and I just bought a bunch of stuff to fill the space that I didn't even really like. And then probably a couple of years ago now, I decided to basically just clean slate. I got rid of almost everything, and have slowly each year been adding a little bit more of higher quality things that I love and that are timeless, and I'm gonna love year after year when I'm pulling them out. So we've got our family room decorated, and then I'm also gonna take you downstairs to the kitchen, which is the other main space that I decorated. But I definitely focus on small, cozy touches, lots of pops of red and plaid, and just things that make me feel like the holidays are here. Okay, so first, really the heart of this family room, which is a space that we spend so much time as a family, is this beautiful mantle behind me. So when we first discovered this house, when it first came on the market, it was truly a diamond in the rough, meaning it needed a lot of work. It was a complete fixer-upper. Nothing had been touched in decades, and some people thought I was crazy for wanting to buy this house, but I saw the vision, and one of the things that immediately jumped out to me was this fireplace surround and the mantle. It's just this beautiful rustic wood, and it's so tall. It's probably one of the biggest fireplace surrounds that I have ever seen, at least in just a normal size room. It's very grand, but it's in a very simple, small, kind of understated room. It's not a grand room by any means, and I just thought it was really cool, and it was something that I immediately thought of, wow, that would be so fun to decorate for Christmas. And I didn't do anything crazy because I really didn't want to steal from the beauty of that natural wood and the mantle, but we do of course have some garlands draped. These are faux garlands. My favorite place to get garlands are from Terrain. I think they make the best ones that look the most realistic, and they're definitely worth the investment, and you can find them on sale even like leading up to Christmas, so just keep an eye out. Every year I basically try and add a couple of faux garlands that are really nice looking, that are realistic, and I know are gonna last, to my collection, and slowly I'm just kind of draping our house in garland year after year. So that's kind of something I've slowly been trying to collect. Of course, we have all of our stockings hung by the chimney with care. And then also I wanted to talk about the actual fireplace screen. This is actually the fireplace screen that my husband grew up with at his house and was passed down to us. And it is just, I love it. It's just so festive. It just brings a lot of character and a lot of like holiday spirit, I guess, to the fireplace versus just like a plain screen that we normally have most of the time. And I love that it's nostalgic for him. We've had like family members or family friends of his comment when they saw it, oh my gosh, I remember that in your parents' house. I love that you guys have it. That's just one of the things that makes Christmas decorating just so much more meaningful, you know, bringing in that nostalgia and the passed down items and the memories, so that you'll see a lot of that in our decorating. Okay, next I wanted to show you guys the built-ins as they are all dressed up for Christmas. These built-ins right here are another thing that really drew me to this house because I'm such a fan of old houses. We've mostly lived in old houses through our marriage, but finding that like custom woodworking, just all of the details, it's much harder to come by in newer houses. And of course they can always be added, but when you see those, you know, fixtures in a house, that's just something that I'm immediately like, that is just so, it's just such a great detail to have in your house. It adds so much character. It's something that you can decorate through the seasons. So that's another thing that really drew me to this room in particular, even though it needed some work. So we've got them all decorated for Christmas, but the most important thing, the centerpiece of the built-ins is our little nativity set. It is definitely challenging in our modern Christmas culture to really continually remind ourselves of the reason for the season, Jesus Christ, and I am always trying to remind my kids of this all throughout the season. So whether it's decorations we have in the house, or maybe it's like certain books our elf on the shelf brings, you know, it's about Jesus. I'm always trying to remind our kids why we're doing, you know, why we are in such anticipation, why this is such an exciting time of year. Yes, we're all excited for presents and Christmas morning and all of that, but always trying to really drill into their heads the true reason of the season. So of course we have our nativity set front and center. And what's kind of special about this, so the actual figurines in the nativity set were given to me by my mom. So they were gifted to us, which is very special. But then what's even more special is the actual little stable that they're in is what Matt had growing up. It's from his nativity set. The actual nativity set itself somehow got lost, I think. That didn't get passed down to us, but we did, you know, we were able to kind of salvage and keep the wooden stable, which is beautiful, number one. And I love it because it's like so perfect, but also it just brings back that nostalgia, the memories for Matt, and it's passed down through the years, which just makes it that much more special. Another nostalgic favorite of Matt's is this little guy right here. We always find somewhere to hang Santa every year, but it says the Bristows on it. He grew up having this in his house. And I totally get it, because I can even recall certain Christmas decorations I had in my house growing up that my mom still puts up, and it just brings back that like childhood magic a little bit. So we have a lot of different Bristow custom from the 90s Christmas decorations from when he was growing up, which I love. There is so much to love about this time of year. One of my most favorite parts of this year is all of the delicious food. There is definitely a lot of decadence and indulgence that happens during the holidays that just doesn't happen any other time of year. And while I am here for the balance, I still want to feel pretty good throughout the holiday season, especially with everything going on. And one of the easiest ways to help stay on top of your nutrition, even when we're eating a lot of things we maybe typically wouldn't eat, is just to stay on top of your supplements. One supplement that I take every day, pretty much without fail, is Element, which is an electrolyte drink mix. And out of all the ones out there on the market, Element is my favorite. I love it because it has the sodium, the potassium, the magnesium, those key electrolytes that you want, but it doesn't have artificial flavorings or colorings or really any artificial ingredients. It also contains no sugar whatsoever. You do not want to be sipping on sugar throughout the day, especially with all the treats this time of year that you're consuming. But sipping on electrolytes, however, throughout the day can actually be really beneficial. Electrolytes help with so many things in the body. Energy production, which is a big one, helping you get a good restful night's sleep, helping with your fluid balance so you're not retaining too much, helping you repair DNA or build muscle. They also play a role in how you control your blood sugar, which is another big thing this time of year with all the treats being passed around. Simply put, your body just needs electrolytes to run optimally. And the thing with electrolytes is we don't have a way to store them, so you do have to constantly replenish them. And I love Element because I just add it to the water. I'm gonna be drinking anyway. It takes 2 seconds, and I can notice such a difference in how hydrated I feel. So many people are chronically dehydrated and just don't even know it, and that is one quick way to not feel your best, because your body is 70% water. Your body really needs to be optimally hydrated. I also just feel like I have more energy. Mentally, I feel sharper when I'm drinking Element. And they have a lot of different flavors to choose from. I personally like any of the citrus ones, but the lemonade is my top favorite. So right now, Element is offering a free sample pack that has 8 of the little single serving packets in it with their most popular drink mix flavors. You can get this for free with any Element order you place. All you have to do is just go to drinkelement.com/Becca Bristow. That's drinklmnt.com/Becca Bristow. And then of course we have our Christmas tree. So we do get a real tree. We had a couple years when we lived, or maybe 3 years when we lived in the farmhouse, where we did get a faux tree. I feel like there's such pros and cons, but ultimately we went back to the real tree because there is something so fun about actually going to get the Christmas tree with your kids. It is far more magical and exciting and something we all really look forward to, much more than just like pulling the tree out of the attic, if that makes sense. So I'm back on the real tree train and I'm happy about it. They don't smell as strong as I remember. Like I remember as a kid, it's like you could smell the tree in the house, and I feel like, I'm like, is this just trees nowadays? Is it, was I just like exaggerating that memory? I don't know. But anyway, it's all decorated. We've got the warm white lights, of course, and we have so many different ornaments on here that have been collected through the years. So when both Matt and I got married, our parents gave us our childhood ornaments, like all the ones that had our names on them that were given to us, and they're all on our tree. So we've got ornaments on here from like the year that Matt and I were both born, and then of course we've got, you know, our first engaged Christmas, first married Christmas, all the new home ornaments because we moved several times. And then we now have kids ornaments, you know, for each of our kids that they're now collecting, and one day we can't wait to be able to do the same for them, to kind of pass down these special nostalgic ornaments one day when they get married and they leave our nest and they have a Christmas tree of their own to decorate, because it's kind of hard to decorate a Christmas tree when you first get married because you don't really have many ornaments. And I remember Matt giving me sass because I went out and bought a ton of just like plain ornaments, and he was like, what kind of tree is that? Like, they've got to have the special ones on it. And I don't think we had gotten them from our parents yet. I was like, we don't have any special ones, so like how else am I supposed to decorate it? So of course we had a couple years there with just a very like standard tree without much personalization and all the memories and nostalgia and all that. But this is definitely my favorite kind of tree. It doesn't look perfect. It's not, you know, straight out of like Balsam Hill by any means, but it means so much to us, and so many of these ornaments just absolutely make me smile. Matt even found one last year on eBay that's literally like Santa's answering machine that he had growing up, and now our kids listen to it, which is just, it's like, that's what it's all about.
I'm unpacking my sleigh now, so be sure to leave your Christmas wishes. Wait for the jingle bells.
So there it is. So if you guys have been following along with all of our home renovation videos, you know in my most recent one, we talked about installing this gallery wall. Well, I finally got all the photos in the frame. So it's a real gallery wall now, and it's not, what do you need? So this isn't necessarily decorated for Christmas. I did stick a couple bows up there and on the mirror just to make it a little bit more festive, and so it wasn't just this blank wall while everything else was kind of decorated. But I just wanted to share that I finally got the photos up. So we've got a real gallery wall now. This room is really coming together. All right, so now moving downstairs. So this little stone cottage is actually built on a pretty steep hill. So if you're looking at the front of the house, you just see 2 stories, but it actually is 3 stories. And this bottom story is technically the basement, but it is ground level. And this is actually where our kitchen and our dining area are. So it's kind of a different layout than most homes. For the most part, I actually really love the separation. But it makes it for, especially in the winter, an even cozier space. Mainly because you have to keep the wood stove cranking, otherwise it's really cold down here. So here, coming down our staircase, this is the only, we have 2 staircases in the house, but this is the only one that has a decent size banister. Our staircase going upstairs, I love that staircase because it's like a little, it's almost like a dollhouse, like curvy staircase up to the top floor, which is actually where all the kids, or most of the kids' bedrooms are, which I think is just really sweet. But this is like the main banister I've got to work with here. So this is the one where I put garland on. I believe these are from, they might be from Terrain, either Terrain, or I have some that are also from A Floral. I think these are the A Floral ones. They look pretty good. These also might be from Terrain, I can't remember, but either way, I think they look pretty real, at least real enough. And then I just kind of put some little bows on here, and we've got these little bells that my kids love to ring. All right, so then let's head into the dining room. So this is technically our dining room. It's kind of more of an eat-in kitchen feel. So this actually, pretty much everywhere where I'm standing used to be a wall. And then you'll see in the kitchen when I show you guys over there, there used to be an equal wall on the other side. So there was just, you came down the stairs to one doorway going into a dining room and one doorway going into a kitchen, and it was very much closed off. When we bought the house, it just made so much more sense to me for these rooms to be more one area, especially because I love the idea of, you know, cooking at the kitchen while my kids are sitting at the table doing crafts or, you know, fighting or whatever it is. I want them to be around me. I want them to be with me. And I really just wanted this to be one cohesive space. So technically this is our dining room, although we utilize it more of an eat-in kitchen, really. Okay, so right behind me here is our dining room table or kitchen table. I try not to covet things, but man, do I love this gorgeous antique table. It has these huge wide planks. It is so distressed from years of meals shared around this table, or maybe work done. I really don't know. This thing truly, it's a mystery to me, but it is clearly very old and it has seen many things in its day. I find it so gorgeous. I love it because my kids can sit around here and do crafts and bang forks, and even though I tell them to stop because it's loud, I don't mind if they nick the table a little bit because it just adds to the story of this beautiful table. So I don't like to, as much as I love a tablecloth, I just think they're so cozy, and I love that you can just whip it off or the crumbs out the door, and it's a little bit easier to clean up, but I never really like to cover up this table. So I do have a little table runner on there just to kind of bring in a little bit of festiveness, a little bit of decoration to it, but I don't really like to cover it up because I just find it so beautiful on its own. And then of course we have our Advent candles here. Again, I'm always trying to bring in that, you know, recognition of why we celebrate Christmas, what the true reason for the season is. And Advent is a time of year in the church that I personally really look forward to. One, I just love the invitation to slow down, even though it's like the hardest time of the year to do it, but I love that the invitation is there and the reminder is there. I also just love the anticipation of, you know, thinking about what Mary was thinking, you know, when she was about to have, you know, birth this baby when she was so young and she's never been a mom, but also she's birthing God's son. I mean, just insane to think about. I just love thinking about it all. It's also just a really special season for me because several years ago I did an Advent Bible study, and it was the first time in my life that I really fully understood and was kind of hit by the truth of that Jesus died for our sins and what God gave up in giving his only son. I mean, it's enough to bring you to your knees, really. And what's funny, I mean, God has a sense of humor, I guess, or he's just looking out for me. This was just a couple months before I ended up having a miscarriage that really rocked my world. And I feel like Jesus was just kind of tapping on my heart hey, you're really gonna need me in a few months. So can we be better friends? Anyway, so the Advent season is always just extra special because of that for me. Okay, and then we have a second Christmas tree down here. This is a faux tree. I got it from Home Depot. I actually got it this year because our other one burned out last year. I can link it down below. It actually looks pretty good and it was very affordable. But this is the kids' tree. I told them, this is your tree. You have full creative expression. So obviously colored lights are up. But also, I wanted them to just be able to decorate it, which, it's coming along. I think it might be a work in progress. I keep nudging them you're allowed to decorate that tree however you want. But anyway, so we've got a few ornaments up there, but mainly this is actually our Jessie tree. So if you've never heard of a Jessie tree, it's basically there's an ornament a day that coincides with a Bible story. So again, it's just trying to bring in the reason for the season, especially for my kids. So every morning they put an ornament on the tree. The actual ornaments I have go with the kids' storybook Bible, and we try our best to keep up with the Bible studies. I am not perfect with it, but I figure anything is better than nothing. What is it? Better is the enemy of good. So we just try our best to keep that as kind of a rhythm in the family. We might have to like catch up after a few days, but that's okay. So for the Jessie tree, I've had it for a few years now, and I usually just had like a basket of the ornaments, but it was very disorganized, and honestly it was like a huge obstacle every day with like the chaos going around for me to like even find the right ornament for the day. So this year I was like, I need to do something different, and I actually found this cute little, it's like literally an ornament tree. It's like a Christmas tree, but it's made for ornaments, and I just hung them all on there in order. So every day we don't have to think about it. We just pluck the ornament off for that day. Whatever kid's turn it is that day gets to put it on the tree, and it's like a no stress thing. It's actually helped me so much actually follow through with all these ornaments, and I like that it's a decoration and I can display them. So it's kind of like a twofer, keeps me organized. It helps me actually follow through with the Jessie tree, but it also looks really pretty here on our piano as well. So like I said earlier, I have been kind of slowly collecting throughout the last few years to really build up Christmas, like a Christmas decor stash that I just love. And this is a perfect example of that. So when we got married, I had an aunt gift us a little Lennox Christmas village. It's actually the little horse and carriage down at the very end. And I was like, oh, this is so cute for a Christmas decoration. Didn't really think much about it. And then a few years down the line, I realized, oh, this is part of a collection. And then I decided, okay, every year I'm going to buy a new piece so that one day I can have a whole village. It's gonna take me years to get there, but I figure, you know, that's okay. It's worth the wait. So right now we've got a little collection going. We've got a coffee shop and a flower shop and a little church, a little shop downtown, and it just makes me smile. My kids love them as much as I'm like, please don't touch them, because they're Lennox and they're definitely fragile. They are just, I feel like that's something that I remember as a kid, like just wide-eyed looking at like the snow villages and seeing them all set up, just all the tiny little, everything was just so magical. And so I'm excited to be able to kind of recreate that, at least in a small way for them. Okay, and then I could not leave the dining room without telling you guys about my favorite feature. This is another thing that when we saw this house for the first time, allowed me to just immediately see through all that like needed to be done, and you know, the fear of taking on such a huge project, because I saw, you know, those little things where I was like, it just casted the vision, and this is one of them. And this fireplace has a wood stove, and I have always wanted a wood stove. It's just like one of those like home wish list things for me. I remember years ago in our very first house, we looked into like putting a wood stove in, and it was just like laughable as far as like being out of our budget, so we never did it. So when I saw this wood stove, I was just so excited. And I've also always wanted a fireplace in the kitchen. There's nothing cozier than having like a fire going while you're working in the kitchen. And technically this isn't in the kitchen, it's in the dining room, but again, it's kind of like one space, so it feels like it's in the kitchen. So we love this thing. It's also actually very practical because like I said, it gets very cold down on this floor. So once it gets cold outside, Matt has this puppy going all day long. I'm kind of notorious for, if I'm on like fire duty, forgetting about it and letting it go out, although I've gotten a lot better at like rescuing it when it's down to the coals. I've gotten better. I've come a long way. He pretty much keeps this going. It puts off so much heat. Like just standing here right now feels so good. It feels like I'm in front of a fire, like a campfire. And our kids love to sit, like they like fight over who sits around like this side of the table because it's right up against the fire. They like to just sit here on the floor with like a snack, and just, there's just something so wonderful about it. And I also just love this fireplace. It's so beautiful. So again, I decorated it very minimally because I'm not trying to go over the top and like cover it up. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is just more my style. So we've got, again, a couple of garlands here, faux garlands, and then Of course, we've got our Mary on the mantle and then just a couple of simple decorations up there. Okay, so then I'm gonna take you guys over to our kitchen. All right, so if you guys watch my videos, then you have seen this kitchen and this backdrop many a time because I truly spend so much time here in the kitchen, both with like filming for YouTube, but also just in general in my daily life. We completely gutted and renovated this kitchen from just a super outdated 80s kitchen with like super old cabinets. It wasn't very functional. There was actually a wall that came to the middle of the room, and then there was like an awkward little, like tiny little, not even corridor, that's like too big. Just this little, almost like closet space that they had a refrigerator tucked into. And then off of that room was like a really scary looking laundry room that needed a lot of work. So we just completely transformed this space. And I feel like this kitchen has got a lot going on. There's beadboard, there's a lot of wallpaper, there's just a lot of kind of decoration to begin with. So I just kind of brought in Christmas touches. So for example, I have little wreaths hanging here on the hutch just to make this just a little bit more festive. This is something that I feel like is one of those, it's very functional as far as what I store it with, but I also try and pick pretty things to store it with. And today I was like, oh, it'd be so fun to have all Christmas themed like cups and plates in there, but I truly use all of that stuff, so I don't really want to take it out. Like our cheese graters in there and our French press, so you know, it's just our normal daily stuff in there. But I've got the little wreaths with the pretty red and white ribbon, just again to bring a little bit of a festive touch. I always have plates hanging on this wall to kind of jazz it up. So this is where that half wall actually was. Ideally, it would have been great to completely get rid of that, but there was a huge pipe going up that wall. So our contractor was just like, it's staying. We're just gonna build around it. So I was a little sad about that. But so I just take it as an opportunity to have something to decorate. So we always have some plates here. These are just little holly plates that I really love, I think are really cute. And then up over the range, we've got a little dried orange garland that I made with, I believe my son helped me make that last year. And it's looking a little rough. I'm like, we're definitely gonna need a new fresh one next year. Also, I just wanted to point out this little candle right here. It's something that's so simple, but it's one of my favorite things in this kitchen because I feel like it has such an old world feel to it. And I actually do light this candle on the wall, not all the time, but it just makes me really happy when I'm cooking in here to have this little candle burning. And I found this at an antique shop. It gives me kind of like Downton Abbey vibes before electricity, when they actually had like candles and torches on the wall. So I just love that. And we have a little bow hanging off of it with a little teeny little bell, which barely rings. And then up above the door here, we have a garland hanging. This is a new one I ordered this year. This is from Terrain, and this is probably my favorite faux garland I've got so far. I just love all of the texture that it has, and I think it looks the most real out of all the ones that I do have. Next year, I'm like, I could do it this year, I guess, but I really want to add twinkle lights to all these garlands. I feel like that would just amp up the magic even more. But for now, we've got them hanging. I've got one hanging here, and then we also have one hanging up above this window as well. And on either side of this window, it ended up being a kind of like boxed in window, which I love. It's like a deep windowsill. Actually, when we originally moved in, this had the curved windowsills, just like the windows on this over here in the dining room. But when we were building new drywall, we basically just had to kind of build around it. We had no choice. So we lost those, but we do have this kind of deep windowsill, which I love. And then Matt built these little shelves for us to have on either side of the window, and then the plate rack above it. So we've got some Christmassy plates up there. And then I just kind of brought in some Christmas decor on each of these shelves. One of my favorite parts of these shelves is the fact that I can kind of decorate them from season to season and just kind of pull in different things just to make it a little bit more fun. I remember growing up just like little decorations in the house, even if it was something really simple. It was just something that I always looked forward to and enjoyed. So I'm trying to do that for my kids, even though I'm not the best with seasonal decorating. Like Christmas, I've got that down-ish. But like all the other holidays, I feel like I'm always behind the ball. But this is one of the ways that I'm trying to get ahead of the curve and actually get some seasonal decor going all throughout the year just to, you know, make it more fun. All right, dear friends, thank you so much for joining us in our little historic stone cottage all dressed up for Christmas. I hope you have the most wonderful Christmas or holiday season. I am going to be taking a little break here on my channel just to really slow down and soak in Advent and then the Christmas season with my family. But then of course I will be back with new videos in the new year. I wish you guys all of the Christmas blessings. Again, I hope you have a wonderful season. May God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me here in this video and being here on my channel. If you're new, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around. Otherwise, I will see you guys in 2026. Bye.